Thanks, Natasha. Yeah, so today we're just going to go through a very quick climate recap from the past week or so and outlooks for the rest of June. This is going to be a highly condensed version of the Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook. This week's will be coming out shortly, but you can go back and look at previous weeks on the Extension website. We can maybe put that link in the chat here at some point if you guys want to get more information, but we're just going to give a quick couple-minute rundown of what's been going on in the state. So over the past week, June 4th through 10th is the period we're talking about here. Precipitation, things have been really wet across the state, but over the past several days, the rainfall totals have actually been below the 30-year normals for the June 5th to June 11th period. So a little bit quieter in terms of rainfall over the past week or so. Kind of the southern 2/3 of the state are in those yellow and orange colors on that map there in the center, and that's at or below the 30-year normals for precipitation. A lot of areas receiving less than an inch during that week. But some areas more further to the north and in the northwest, those where we had our higher totals, precip totals that were a little bit above the 30-year normal. We're talking totals for the last week of 1 to 2 inches. Temperatures were pretty seasonal, right around plus or minus 1 degree of the 30-year normal. So those areas in yellow and light green, those areas on the map down on the far corner were areas were right around normal, with a few localized areas that were a couple degrees below or above normal. Warmer than normal conditions were common along the Lake Michigan shoreline, those areas in orange, and then further up to the northwest along Lake Superior. Maximum temperatures, the highest values we saw during this week were were in the low to mid 80s, so right around seasonal for this time of year. So the ag impacts for soils, soil moisture levels remain at wetter than normal conditions for this time of year for most, with 70% of the state reporting good or adequate conditions for subsoil moisture. That map down there on the far right, those are numbers reported to NASS, USDA's National Ag Statistics Service. And it's pretty common across the upper Midwest to be kind of in that 60 to 70% range. So the rainfall's definitely been helping. And I will say, if you want to check out soil moisture conditions kind of more down to your local area, I would encourage you to check out Wisconsin, which has soil moisture levels for many stations throughout the state at different depths and is updated in real time. And from Wisconsin, we saw average soil temperatures at the 4-inch depth that are right around the mid to upper 60s on average for the last week. And they've been incrementally getting a little bit warmer every week as we progressed into the summer. Drought now, we've really reduced drought over the past few months with all the rainfall we've been getting. We're now down to less than 1% of the state that's in D1 drought, that kind of a light orange color up in far northern Wisconsin. We still have about 7% in D0. That's abnormally dry. It's not technically a drought condition. It's kind of in between drought and no drought. We have about 7% of that, but we have reduced that over the last few weeks. And now we have none of the state that's in D2 level drought or higher. Crop progress and conditions, corn and soybeans are at or above 75% emerged, plantings nearing 90% at the end of last week, with conditions for both crops. Crop conditions are now being reported as the crops are getting up, and they're right around 70% good to excellent in the state. So looking ahead to the next week and beyond, over the next 7 days, we once again have multiple chances of rainfall. We have a chance for some severe storms later today, especially up in the northwest part of the state. And that is once again the area that is expected to see the highest rainfall totals over the next week. The map there is the QPF, or Quantitative Precipitation Forecast from NOAA, showing that we could maybe have multiple inches of rainfall up in the northwest if this forecast verifies, lower to the east and south. For the rest of June, as we head into the later part of this upcoming weekend and into next week, temperatures are really looking to be pretty warm. We could have some instances of 90s in the state into next week. So the map down there in the far right corner is the Climate Prediction Center's probability for temperatures over the next 8 to 14 days. You see we are likely to be seeing above normal temperatures for this period. And there is a risk of excessive heat as humidity levels are also going to be going up as well. So just keep that in mind if you're working outside and probabilities are leaning towards higher than normal precipitation for this time period. Not necessarily a slam dunk. We're gonna have higher than normal precipitation, but probabilities are kind of leaning in that direction. And then for the rest of the summer, right now predictions are for warmer than normal conditions, having a higher probability to continue throughout the summer months as we transition from the El Nino we had back during the winter months into more of a La Nina period. So again, very quick rundown of the conditions we've been seeing and what we're expected to see in the state. I'm one of a team of 6 that puts together the Wisconsin Ag Climate Outlook every week. So feel free to reach out to any one of us and give the Waco a look once it comes out this week, as we'll have way more information in that. So with that, that's all I have. I'll take any questions, or feel free to put those in the chat. Thanks.